y'all, Melissa here at Twin Oaks Family Farm. I want to do an update on the Luffa Gourds that we're growing. So this is September 17th, 2025, and I looked back through photo gallery and saw that we planted them on May 18th, 2025. So we're just right at 4 months since we planted them. We did start them in little containers that we started in a small greenhouse, and we let them get a good start in there and then transplanted them out here to a south-facing slope that we have at our meat bird barn. I want to do an update on them because we had read that they needed about 110 days start to finish, and I think that's about right, but I think they were a little slower growing here. We're in Southeast Ohio, so they've had roughly 120 days, and we have a lot of gourds growing on the plants, but we only have probably a couple that I would say are finished. So here it appears that we need just a little more time to grow them. And I'm really excited about them though, because we actually have probably about another month before we get a first frost for fall. So they've got a little more time to grow, and we have a little more experience with them now. So next year we can start them a little earlier and plant them a little differently and hopefully have even more success with them. But check it out, take a look here. So we only did 2 small planting beds where we included the loofahs. This was one of them. This did the best. And the little planting group right there at the other corner of this side of the barn, these did go ahead and climb up the siding of the barn, which is fine. We'll clean it all up this fall, but we will do a whole different setup with these next year. At the end of the video, I'll actually show you the site where I am hoping that we put them. I think it'll be kind of a planning and designing and executing trick to actually get it done, but I think it would be really neat effect and would be a really great way to grow them if we can do it. So I'll show you that at the end. But this is one right here that I would say probably has had enough time that we could consider it finished. There's another one down here that stayed real low on the vine. I think we could consider that one finished as well. Other than that, there's a whole lot of them in progress. 1, 2, 3, move on across the vine here, 4, there's 5, 6, I could even be overlooking some. Well, yeah, this one, 8, 9, here's one, started here, 10, there's one started there, and of course the 2 that we said look like they're finished, so that would be 12. We do have a couple other plants here. So there's a couple Abe Lincoln tomato plants here. They do have some tomatoes going on them. I do hope those mature and we get to try them. We've never had Abe Lincoln tomatoes. There's also a cucumber vine here, but it's more or less dying back, so I don't expect to get any more cucumbers off of it. I believe it was a Market More cucumber. The cucumbers were absolutely delicious and did great here. But oh, and look, there's another loofah growing right there. So I'm trying to let the tomatoes stay there until we can get at least a couple of those Abe Lincoln tomatoes to mature. But as soon as they do, we're going to take the tomato plants out of there and the cucumber vine, clean those up, and if we're able to give the loofahs maybe a few more weeks after that, let them finish as far as possible on the vine. And then what we think we can do with the finished loofahs, if we get to the point where we can harvest finished loofahs off of these vines, is you can dry them down and harvest loofah sponges out of them. Isn't that cool? We didn't get quite as many growing on this pair of loofah vines, but there are some really small ones started, so they may not actually get time to finish. It's interesting too to have watched this one. So I've left it there, wanted to kind of see what the inside looked like as it developed, and it had split early in its growth. So I thought I'd show y'all. Looks like that's the very beginning of one right there. And there's another one. I love the blooms on the loofahs. They've attracted a lot of pollinators. Want to show you something before we finish. These vines, as they grew up the side of the barn, Some of them actually continued growing inside the barn where they grew through a gap in the wood siding. I want to take you inside there and show you something. This is actually stepping inside of the meat bird barn, but some started through a gap in the wood siding, and look, some loofahs actually started growing on the inside of the barn. And this is also very interesting to observe some in a whole different set of growing conditions. So there's one there, and one there. So again, those may not end up having enough time to finish before we clean the vines up, but we're gonna let them grow and we're gonna see how they turn out. So I really enjoyed growing the Luffa Gourds this summer, 2025. Definitely gonna grow them again in 2026. We sourced ours as seeds from Mary's Heirloom Seeds in Ben Wheeler, Texas. I've also sourced them in the past from 1818 Farms in Mooresville, Alabama. You could look both of those places up online and you can order seeds directly from them. Mary's Heirloom Seeds, Ben Wheeler, Texas, 1818 Farms, Mooresville, Alabama. The ones you see growing this year here at Twin Oaks Family Farm were seeds sourced from Mary's Heirloom Seeds. So if you stay tuned, I will give you a look at where we plan to put the loofahs next year and tell you how we plan to grow them. Thanks for joining us here at Twin Oaks Family Farm. We hope that you're doing great. We hope that you are trying something new, growing some kind of food, raising some kind of animal, doing things that give you skills for being able to make things for yourselves and feel good about it. That is the most awesome thing to be able to do, to produce anything that you're going to eat and feed to your family and have it sustain your household. There's nothing more rewarding. So y'all take care. Thanks for joining us, and God bless you. Okay, so I want to show y'all where we're planning on trying to grow loofahs next summer in 2026. Try to verbalize kind of our vision for it. So I'm standing across the property from the Twin Oaks that our small family farm is named for, and then our driveway runs there. It's running east-west direction, and then closer to us we have this row of just 4 trees, just miscellaneous little trees there, and actually thinking we'll make a path with the cattle panels to grow loofahs on from the driveway to the center 2 trees there. So I'll go from the other side actually and show it to you. I think it's neat. Here our Twin Oaks are the tall trees, so they're about 25 years old, and you can just barely see just across the driveway from the 2 tall oaks are another pair of oaks that are still saplings, and I'm trying to recall when we planted them. They may only be about 3 years old. So the way the sun is right now, it's kind of hard to get a good view of it, but actually these 2 trees right in front of us, I'm thinking that we'll try to set cattle panels kind of in line with each of those trees so that they create an arch that will basically lead from the edge of the driveway to those 2 trees, and then we'll plant the Luffa Gourds at the base of all those cattle panels, and it'll just by end of summer be an arch of those loofahs, and hopefully we'll have other plantings of different flowers such as zinnias and dahlias around this area as well. So we're looking forward to that for 2026. It'll be a lot of work and a lot of learning because it's not something that we're already experts at, but it's always fun to learn new things. So we're going to try that for next year. Let us know what gardening ideas you aspire to. We love to read your ideas in the comments and learn from each other here at our community on Twin Oaks Family Farm. Thanks so much for stopping by, and join us again. God bless you.